Salida, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville, the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Thank goodness, huh? The election day 2024 is here. Get this thing in the rearview mirror. This is the beginning of getting this thing in the rearview. 50-50 chance at best we'll know who's president of the United States come January tonight. Probably in the next 24 to 48 hours, though. And then the losing side will be... Thank you, Drew Brees. They'll be complaining a little bit, I'm sure. The Trump's a little bit more than the other side if he loses. He's already set it up, like Pennsylvania's fixed. He's got that wild card already rolling. If he wins, all is good. If he loses, it was fixed. That's a pretty good way to be. You can't lose that way. You win, you win. You lose, you win. Anyway, I still have to go vote. Polls are open till 8 p.m. tonight. I'll be rolling into my voting precinct probably around 7. Voting late today. I wanted to get in there this afternoon, but didn't make it. But I will definitely vote before 8 p.m. And I'm not voting for Donald Trump, and I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. I'm voting for Fred McGill, John Doe. It's pretty irrelevant to me. I just can't pull the trigger for Donald Trump on anything. It's totally impossible. And I can't vote for Kamala Harris just because she's not as caustic, not as, egomaniacal, narcissistic as Donald Trump. I kind of look at it this way. One candidate, I guess Trump is like a lucky dog with Wendy's chili on it. And the other candidate is Wendy's chili. We'll call Kamala Harris Wendy's chili. And Donald Trump is a lucky dog with Wendy's chili. Sorry, lucky dog people. You got to be drunk to eat a lucky dog. Has 2 questions. Has any sober person ever eaten a lucky dog? And has anyone proactively sober, like, man, I'm in the mood for a lucky dog. I'm going to park or walk into the Quarter and go get a lucky dog for lunch? Has that ever happened in the history of the lucky dog? What do you think, Miss Peaches? Has anyone sober had a lucky dog? And has anyone proactively said, man, I'm hungry for lunch. Let me go into the Quarter and get a lucky dog? Has that ever happened? Maybe. Good answer. Miss Peaches is on fire. Miss Peaches was at the airport recently. She went to Gretna and New Orleans East. Pretty impressive vacation. She got to the airport and realized there were no direct flights from Louis Armstrong to Gretna or New Orleans East. No. So they ended up canceling all reservations. They ended up staying in West Wego. That hotel across from the Hilario Center with the little pool, the like Western Days Inn or something like that. That one hotel with the pool. Her and her 3 boyfriends spent a lot of time outside by the pool.
It's like a resort.
Yep. And then they just walked to restaurants to eat. Burger King, McDonald's. Fantastic vacation for Miss Peaches. So no, she was at the airport realizing there are no flights to Tarrytown or New Orleans East, but there is a lucky dog stand there. And things called begnets. They're these like puffy things with white powder, it looks like, on them. They're called begnets. Did you see the line of the Swifties? I forgot to mention this at Cafe Du Monde in the Quarter. I mean, it was like, I'm not kidding, like 200 or 300 deep and like a block long to get begnets. I think they're pronounced begnets. I'm a morning call person. I think Cafe Du Monde are just a little heavy. They're a little doughy. The morning calls are fluffier. And that morning call on City Park Avenue by Canal Boulevard, home of way too many traffic lights, that's a painful traffic signal there. I'd hate to be coming out of Lakeview all the time and you have to go Canal Boulevard, City Park Avenue, Canal Street. It's painful. I mean, get teeth removed by the time that light turns green. But boy, Boy, those are, I like the begnets there. The beignets over there are really good. But I don't eat them all the time. But boy, they're good, especially with all that powdered sugar. You know, the gimmick, I don't care if I'm in the place or getting in a speeches, I get the bag and you up. Instead of that metal can pounding and then you're in a dust cloud.
You always wear something dark.
Always wear black or dark brown or maroon. Exactly. Yeah. Wow. But you can kind of wear that if you do the bag shake-up gimmick. And then they're just coated in the powdered sugar. Anyway, tricks to eating begnets. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday. Yes, Election Day 2024 is here. Yeah, I'll say Donald Trump is a lucky dog with Wendy's chili, and Kamala Harris is just Wendy's chili. And I don't want to eat either one. I know some of you out there going, dude, I like Wendy's chili. I hear you. I would, if I, sensitive palate, picky, whatever, if I took a bite out of a lucky dog or a big spoonful of Wendy's chili, I think I would have a gag reflex and may literally projectile, just shoot food out of my mouth. Anyway, so yeah, I don't want to eat a lucky dog with Wendy's chili, and I don't want to eat Wendy's chili, and that's how I look at the election. Now, I don't consider them equals. I think Donald Trump is just a lunatic. He just says whatever he wants to say. I mean, the latest was, forget about the Ukraine war. What today was in 15 minutes, I could fix. What was he going to fix? In 15 minutes, I could solve this problem. I'm going blank now. And it wasn't as serious as the Ukraine war at all. It was something much milder, but he could fix the problem in 15 minutes. Just could negotiate through it in 15 minutes. I'll figure out what it was, but it was just absurd. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. Only I can get it done. Things were great when I was here, on and on and on. And then I love the Trump supporter, like when Trump says something ridiculous, the earth is flat. For like 6 weeks or so, they'll argue it's flat. And then at the end, they'll go, he didn't mean that. It's like they know Donald Trump better than they know themselves. What he meant, what he didn't mean. No, as far as Kamala Harris, I said this when she was vice president, when Biden was stepping down, didn't feel she was much of a vice president. And I know that's sort of a wishy-washy, sort of flaky statements like, who is a good vice president? What does a vice president do? I get it. I guess ultimately I don't think she's presidential material. And I think the entire campaign, I have no idea what Kamala Harris stands for. I know women's rights and, Roe versus Wade. I get that. But like beyond that, and I'm on her side on that, as are most Americans, male and female, pro Roe versus Wade. But I just don't know what she stands for and what I worry about. And we're going to survive either person. It's the United States of America. We're a strong country, strong people. I just think Kamala Harris will not be a moderate liberal as she's sort of selling herself to be. I think she will revert back to what she's sort of always been, kind of a fairly woke, progressive, kind of loony left, at least leaning in that direction. So, you're voting for Trump, you're voting for Kamala Harris. I know I'm not winning today. Those are the choices, and Corey's kind of knocking both. But I would say Kamala Harris is just kind of politically unsavory for me. And I'm not a conservative or a liberal. I'm a registered independent. I bet if you look at my voting report card, I've voted equally across the board. I vote for the person, not the party, all the time. But could I vote for Kamala Harris for something? Sure. I could never vote for Donald Trump, not even for dog catcher. I almost find him just, I'd say repulsive, but I don't want to even give him that much credit. It's more of like he's just a joke. He's a joke. I think history's going to look back at Donald Trump as sort of a pathetic person. Kamala Harris is to me, like a legitimate politician in a way, just too extreme for me. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday. Yeah, I'm pulling a Quinn Hillier. I'm voting for a third party candidate like John Doe, Lyndon LaRouche Jr. I'm kidding. I don't know, but not that it's irrelevant. But in Louisiana, we know where the electoral votes are going. Donald Trump got the second largest percentage of the population in Louisiana last election. I think Oklahoma only voted for Donald Trump in a larger, percentage of the population. Hey, if you're looking for prescription eyewear or a great pair of sunglasses, don't go to the mall. Go to Art and Eyes on Magazine in between Washington and Napoleon. Art and Eyes, actually in between Louisiana and Napoleon. Art and Eyes on Magazine. If you need prescription glasses or sunglasses, Google them. Art and Eyes on Magazine.
5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
That's what I said. That's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades. On Jefferson Highway, across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you. Election Day 2024 is here. Miss Peaches and I are like on the same wavelength. We were just calling it petty. Petty. Junket Cantrell continues her No Shame Tour. It's the No Shame Tour. First, putting herself on this walk of fame. Now, the walk of fame, by the way, 50 most influential New Orleanians in history. The 50 most influential New Orleanians in history, and LaToya Cantrell puts herself on the list. She just does have no shame. Now, on yet another international junket, and I'm not kidding. This time it's Barcelona. I'd love to go to Barcelona, Spain, huh? The indictment and jail time can't come soon enough for this woman. Seriously. She is absolutely worthless. Just a terrible human being, a terrible human being. Does not care about the citizens, the opposite. Screw y'all, all y'all haters, I'm going to Barcelona. That's her attitude. Just beyond petty. She's just a sad person, a sad and pathetic person. Junket Cantrell in Barcelona, Spain for the week. And as usual, doesn't mention it before. I mean, her, shame on her media folks. They make sure the plane is in the air when they make the announcement because they know if they said next week the mayor's going to Barcelona, there'd be a firestorm. People would freak out. She did that one time. I think you remember the Singapore trip and somewhere else was announced before. And then because of the outroar, she had to cancel it. People freaked out. They're like, why are you going there? Why on another junket? And junket, by definition, is like a politician going on a taxpayer-financed vacation. Because of all these trips, I mean, it might be like 20, maybe more. There's not a single dollar that's come into the city of New Orleans. The opposite, maybe north of $1 million in taxpayer money financing these junkets. Not a single dollar coming to the citizens of New Orleans and not one individual being employed by it. Not one individual. The Joe Blow company's coming here because of the mayor's trip. I'll guarantee you this, and I'm not like a big Jeff Landry fan in the least bit. Jeff Landry just got back from South Korea. I guarantee you there will be something of value to the state coming from that trip. Something. We already do a lot of business in South Korea. No, just no shame. No honor, no integrity, no ethics. Just an immoral person. Basically a worthless individual. LaToya Cantrell in Barcelona. Hey, speaking of the 50 most influential New Orleanians in history, have you checked out the list? Have you checked out the list? You don't have Buddy Bolden on it or Sidney Beauchet or Jelly Roll Morton, Terrence Blanchard, but you've got Mia X on the list, which is just mind-blowing to me. Don't put the jazz greats that kind of invented that genre. Put Mia X on there. And I'm not knocking Mia X. I'm not saying if the list were expanded down the road, like the next 50, the 50 after, maybe like 150 to 200, 200 to 250, something like that. Maybe you put Mia X on it. And I don't mean to pick her out because she did nothing wrong and she's successful and influential. But I've got the list in front of me and you can check it out on my Twitter. Aaron Neville, of course. A.P. Turo, civil rights leader, attorney, of course. Al Copeland, the restaurateur. I don't even know if he was born in New Orleans. I think of Araby and Jefferson Parish when I think of Al Copeland, but Popeye's huge. Alan Toussaint, of course. Tootie Montana, Mardi Gras Indians, yes. Anthony Mackie, actor. I love Anthony Mackie. He's probably been like a prominent actor now, like known universally for maybe like a decade, like 10 years now. Not 30 or 40. like Patricia Clarkson, who's not on the list. So maybe when you get another 50 or 50 after that, you put Anthony Mackie on it. I love Anthony Mackie. I'm not knocking Anthony Mackie. He's like a contemporary of mine. He's on the list. That's not like a bad one where you're like, God, what are y'all thinking? But it's a little premature. Archie Manning, of course. Avery Johnson, why not? You know, I can see Avery Johnson. Big Frida. Really? Big Frida on 50 most influential people in New Orleans history, yet Buddy Bolden, Sidney Boucher, and Jelly Roll Morton aren't on that list. I mean, if you're putting Big Frida, put Charmaine Neville along with her brother Aaron. Put, the Meters, all of them. I mean, it's mind-blowing. Big Frida. Blaine Kern, Mr. Mardi Gras, yes. Birdman Williams and Slim Williams, maybe not on the first 50, but you could argue put them on the first 50. Cash Money Records, influential in rap music, production, all of that. Bryant Gumbel, why not? But Bryant Gumbel has a brother because he does sports. He doesn't get the nod. It's not as significant. Carl Weathers, the actor, he passed away. Yes, I would put Carl Weathers on there. Cedric Richmond, politician. Really? Cedric Richmond right now? I mean, you know how many politicians you can come up with that would be ahead of Cedric Richmond, that probably Cedric Richmond would say would be ahead of him? Clyde Drexler, athlete. Didn't even know Clyde Drexler was from New Orleans. And I love Clyde Drexler, NBA Hall of Famer, great person, but what has he done for New Orleans? DJ Khalid, really? Seriously. Fats Domino, of course. Gail Benson, Tom Benson, sure. Probably more Tom Benson than Gail Benson, the first group. Irma Thomas, yes. John Baptiste, he's so big, probably so, but maybe on the next list. Again, what is John Baptiste, 40 years old? John George's businessman, know him personally, owns the Times-Picayune. Probably not top 50 most significant New Orleanians in history. Premature. Leah Chase, yes, of course. Lil Wayne, musician, probably shouldn't be on the list because he's part of the people that put the list together. You gotta have to exclude yourself. Louis Armstrong, of course. Honorary inductee. These are supposed to be native New Orleanians. LaToya Cantrell put herself on the list. Top 50 most significant New Orleanians in history. She is on crack cocaine. Seriously. She is drunk. She is drunk. Like she was at Houston's the other night when I saw her. Drunk. Dr. John, of course. Mark Morial. I know for the black community, it's a no-brainer, Mark Morial, but this isn't like an opinion. This is a fact. The most corrupt political mayoral administration in the city's history. His own uncle, Sybil, who just passed away a few months ago, her brother, Haydel, went to jail. It's easier to figure out who didn't go to jail in the Morial administration that was a higher up than who did. Seriously. So I would say Mark Morial, insanely premature. The best thing Mark Morial did as mayor, let the feds bring in Richard Pennington as police chief and get out of the way and let the business community lead the way in getting an NBA franchise, the then Charlotte Hornets. Marshall Faulk, probably premature. Mahalia Jackson, of course. I mentioned Mia X, ridiculous. Moon Landrew, yes. Norman Francis, of course. Aretha Castle-Haley, of course. Master P. I said no to Lil Wayne. It was Master P who was part of putting the list together. He shouldn't be on the list so early. Lil Wayne, probably a little premature. Peyton Manning, I'd say yes. You could argue top 2 or 3 NFL player of all time. Reese Witherspoon is sort of like Clyde Drexler. Also like Todd Graves, from Raising Cane's, like born in a New Orleans hospital and beelined out of Dodge immediately. They were kids, they were babies, they were infants. They didn't do anything wrong. But I don't think Clyde Drexler, Reese Witherspoon, Todd Graves, Baton Rouge Walk of Fame, you bet. And I like all of them. I think Todd Graves is an incredible entrepreneur. Reese Witherspoon, great actor. Clyde Drexler, NBA Hall of Famer. Just no real ties to New Orleans. Sidney Torres, businessman, premature. And like John George's, I know Sidney Torres personally, just premature. He's not top 50 most influential New Orleanian in history. It's crazy. Trombone Shorty, love him. But Buddy Bolden, Sidney Boucher, Jelly Roll, Morton aren't on the list. Ernie Cato not on the list. I think Trombone Shorty would be like, you're right, Corey. Troy Carter's on the list, like Cedric Richmond, insanely premature. Wendell Pierce, how can you have Wendell Pierce when you don't have Patricia Clarkson? Bill Goldring, sure. Wynton Marsalis, I think that's fine, Wynton Marsalis, because he's been up in New York for decades running, the Jazz, Kennedy Center and all that. I'll fire out a list of at least 20 names that I think you'll agree should have been on that list. I want your take. 766-9480. Coming right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers. Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LaBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City. Have you seen the top 50 most significant New Orleanians in history list? I love the idea, the Walk of Fame. The artwork is incredible. Go to my Twitter at Corey Johnson. You can check out the artwork. It's like the Hollywood Walk of Fame. What do you want to say, Miss Peaches? Those placards are like 2 feet by 2 feet, maybe? Something like that? But they're not like 3 feet by 3 feet. They're like maybe 2 by 2, something like that. No, not too big, not too small. Same kind of concept for the New Orleans Walk of Fame. But unlike the Hollywood, which just has the star and just, they're like two-tone, this thing is beautiful. It's a fleur-de-lis with like almost stained glass, just all different kind of colors. They're awesome. The artist did a great job. But LaToya Cantrell, one of the top 50, and she, a great question is, who was on the board? Was there a board, or was it LaToya Cantrell drunk and Lil Wayne, Master P, just sitting around Googling like significant New Orleanians and then coming up with obviously an agenda, or putting folks on there that simply are, it's either way premature like Mia X, or it's like, Mackie or the other actor, I just forgot it, Wendell Pierce, and you don't have like Patricia Clarkson, who's probably the most known actor in the history of the city, the redhead, from Untouchables to so many other things. She's been at it for 40 years professionally, 50 years. And she is an A-list actress, like not anymore, but was like, what do you want to say? A-minus? A-minus? Mackie is A- right now. Wendell Pierce is like a B+. He's never been like A-. And I'm not knocking Wendell Pierce. I like the guy. But it gets silly. And then you have like that trio I mentioned, Clyde Drexler, who I love, Reese Witherspoon, great actor, Todd Graves, Raising Cane's. He's worth like $9 billion. He could buy the Saints and the Pelicans and have billions left over using his own money, ridiculously successful. Love the guy. I think it's an incredible story. They were born in New Orleans hospitals and have really no contribution to New Orleans. It's just sort of silly they're on the list. And when I rattle off some names, you're going to be like, ridiculous they're on the list. Who is not deserving? Who is premature? Who is missing from the list? You heard me rattle off some names. Maybe some people popped right in your head. Now, for like the fourth time, I'm going to mention some jazz greats, Buddy Bolden, Sidney Boucher, and Jelly Roll Morton. Maybe Ernie Cato. Al Hirt and Pete Fountain aren't on the list. Need I say more? Louis Prima, not on the list. Dave Dixon, father of the Dome, father of the Saints, bringing the NFL to this city, and an unheralded civil rights leader. Dave Dixon understood the city of New Orleans black and white and what we needed to do to move into the future. He knew that, hey, we bring in the Saints. You can't have segregated seating at Tulane Stadium. It's not going to fly, Dave Dixon was an incredible New Orleanian, clearly on the top 50, not on the list. And then you can get into some old timers like Mel. How's Mel, one of Major League Baseball's greatest, not on the list? Ralph Dupas, you're like, who's that? He just happened to be one, I think maybe the only New Orleanian outside of Regis, the boxer. Dupas was a heavyweight, was a world champion, like a middleweight world champion boxer. You could argue Will Clark, Major League Baseball. Oh, I forgot when I was mentioning musicians. Professor Longhair. By the way, I got a good trivia question. What's Professor Longhair's real name? Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. 766-9480. I don't think Terrence Blanchard's on the list. You could argue Hank Larcella, runner-up for the Heisman Trophy at Tennessee, basically the developer of Elmwood. How about Sam Zamuri, the Banana Man? How do you not have him on the list? Now, he would go on the list like Drew Brees. Drew Brees is on the list as like an exception because it's supposed to be native New Orleanians. Drew Brees, if you're going to bend the rules, of course. But if you bend the rules for Drew Brees, and that's fine, I love Drew Brees, then Sam Zamuri needs to be on there from United Fruit. And Andrew Higgins, the Higgins boat guy, World War II, Eisenhower credited him with being one of, the most significant people, like wouldn't have won the war without Andrew Higgins. He's not on the list. Homer Plessy isn't on the list. Homer Plessy's not on the list. Ruby Bridges isn't on the list. And her mother, Lucille Bridges, isn't on the list. I mean, talk about just missing the point. How is Ruby Bridges and her mom, Lucille, not on the list? And then you could go with the McDonough three. Who's that? Leona Tate, Gail Etienne, and I'm going blank. I know these names. Sometimes I get on the air and the pressure, Miss Peaches, the pressure. Yeah, McDonough three. Thanks, Miss Peaches. Gail Etienne, Leona Tate, and damn. They integrated, what was it, McDonough 19? Yeah. Tessie Prevost. That was McDonough 19, right? Yes. At the same moment, Ruby Bridges was integrating Franz Elementary. And Lucille Bridges, Ruby's mom, is more significant than Ruby. She said, I'm going to allow my daughter. The parents of the McDonough three are more significant than the McDonough three. They were 6-year-old kids. They had no idea what they were doing, had no idea the significance of it, had no idea of any of it. So the parents are as big as the kids, at least. That's why I say Lucille Bridges, Ruby's mom. Andrew Young, U.S. Ambassador, Mayor of Atlanta, significant civil rights leader, marched with Dr. Martin Luther King. Andrew Young was born in New Orleans. Paul Morphy, the chess champion from, 150 years ago. No, the fact that these folks not on the list, crazy. If you want to put people like Drew Brees on the list, you probably need to put like Ricky Jackson, Pete Maravich, maybe Jim Mora. Love to hear from you. 766-9480. Where am I wrong? Who's on that list that I mentioned? It's premature. Mia X shouldn't be on that list yet. And yeah, where are the folks? Who are the folks that put together the list besides the mayor and Master P? Was there a board? Did they go beyond Googling names and then the agenda they had? Not to pat myself on the back, I'm the perfect person to be on like a 10, 12, 20-member board to come up with the 50 most significant New Orleanians in history. The 50 most significant New Orleanians in history. It is mind-blowing. I'd say out of the 50, there's a solid 25 or 30 that you give a thumbs up to. And then there's 20 that are either premature, not applicable, doesn't apply at all, shouldn't be on the list at all, like the mayor. I mean, LaToya Cantrell is a trip. She simply does not give a blank, does not care. Just the opposite, belligerent. And like I said about the Barcelona trip, petty. And hey, you haters, go ahead and hate. I'm doing it anyway. I almost don't want to say this because I'm not a jealous person or an envious person or vindictive or mean-spirited. I don't like those characteristics at all. And I don't want to say this. But at this moment, with the list and her putting herself on it, the Barcelona junket, yet another junket, it's almost going to be a good day when she gets indicted and goes to jail. And I hate saying that because I'm not that kind of person. I don't get off on other people's, bad things happening to them. I don't wish ill will on anyone. I don't hope the mayor gets indicted and goes to jail. But one side of me is like, I hope the mayor gets indicted and goes to jail. And that's weakness on my part. Because you never want to be like that. You don't want to be petty. You don't want to go down to that level that the mayor's in, the gutter. You don't want to go to the gutter. You don't want to visit the garbage truck, inside the garbage truck. Plus, when they compact that garbage, it could kill you. No, I don't like having those feelings like, can't wait for the mayor to be indicted and go to jail. But right now, this very moment, the 50 most influential New Orleanians in history and the mayor putting herself on that list. And now another junket. She's in Barcelona, Spain. Those feelings kind of come out. I have to cap them down. Hey, why aren't you at Katie's right now in Mid-City? As New Orleans as it gets. I had Scott Craig on the program Friday. The dishes they have at Katie's are unbelievable. It could be soft shell crabs. We only got 15 of them. They're still moving when we cook them. Could be flounder or pompano. You never know what Scott's going to pull out of his hat. It's in Mid-City, Iberville, corner Telemachus. Like I said, as New Orleans as it gets, a Mid-City mainstay. Why aren't you at Katie's right now? Get to Katie's in Mid-City.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades. On Jefferson Highway, across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LaBarre by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you. The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com. Your cool spot.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday. Hey, the 4 o'clock hour this afternoon brought to you by Leidenheimer Baking Company. Can you find a New Orleanian that doesn't love Leidenheimer French bread? Served at our finest restaurants before you get down to enjoying that meal. First thing you might eat at a fine dining establishment in New Orleans is some piping hot Leidenheimer French bread. And if you're getting an authentic New Orleans po' boy, chances are it's on Leidenheimer French bread, the official French bread of the Crescent City. They've only been at it since 1896. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread. Get a loaf tonight at Rouse's or your favorite grocery store. And it freezes like a champ. I don't know if a lot of you knew that or not. You freeze Leidenheimer French bread like in a Ziploc freezer bag or Tupperware. Pull it out a week later, throw it in the oven at like 350 for like 6 or 8 minutes, and it comes out like it came from the bakery itself. 4 o'clock hour brought to you by Leidenheimer Baking Company. Hey, Rouse's Markets phone lines are open 766-9480. Got an easy Woodhouse question for you. Name a foreign country LaToya Cantrell has visited as mayor of New Orleans. Name a foreign country LaToya Cantrell has visited as mayor of New Orleans. Name any one besides Spain, where she presently is visiting. Guaranteed to bring dozens, if not hundreds of jobs to the Crescent City after that trip, huh? And I've got a more legitimate question that's probably tough. Professor Longhair is not on the 50 most significant New Orleanians, most influential New Orleanians in history list. GQ on the North Shore he emailed us, Corey@CoreyTalks.com. Who put together the list? What a great question. Not folks that are qualified to put together the list. The mayor, Master P, and they went to Google, and then they said, we got an agenda. I got 12 people that I want to put on this list, including myself. And it's supposed to be native New Orleanians. So obviously the mayor's from Los Angeles and doesn't deserve to be on the list if it was a top 5,000. But it's top 50. the first 50. They put Drew Brees on the list. He's not a native. I'm like, okay, you want to bend those rules? That's fine. But if you're going to bend those rules, you got to put Andrew Higgins on that list. You got to put Sam Zamuri from United Fruit, the banana man, on that list, right? And then you could argue, if you're putting Drew Brees, aren't you going to put Pete Maravich on that list? If you're putting Drew Brees on the list? And then I would argue Ricky Jackson from the Saints. Ricky Jackson is clearly the number 2 greatest Saint in history. And it's like Drew Brees being number 1, Ricky Jackson number 2. You're just fighting for who's 3, 4, and 5 after that. There's no one else is number 2. It's Ricky Jackson. And then you could argue like a Jim Mora or Sean Payton. I mean, Jim Finks. But no, where it just yells like faulty list, irresponsible, not correct. No Buddy Bolden, no Sidney Boucher, no Jelly Roll Morton, no Professor Longhair, no Al Hurt, no Pete Fountain, no Louis Prima, no Dave Dixon, no Ruby Bridges. Seriously, no Ruby Bridges. No Mel Ott. Just crazy. A faulty, broken list. Agenda-driven. No, you need people like me, and I'm not patting myself on the back. This is an egoless thing. It's just how it is. People like me, and there are probably hundreds of people like me, but you need people like me on this list of like a dozen, 15, 20, quote, board members that scrutinize the list and come up with the folks. And like I said earlier, I don't have those bad feelings like jealousy or vindictiveness or those things. Those are just mental weakness. I'm fortunate, but sadly, I sit here and go, yeah, I can't wait for the mayor to be indicted and go to jail. And I just think that's kind of wrong to say that, kind of wrong to say that. But boy, just this list is a lot of unqualified people, not deserving, premature at the least. Just crazy. And so many people missing. I've rattled off like a dozen that definitively deserve to be on the list. Another dozen that you could argue are definitely more significant than 15 or 20 that are on the list. Continues to have no shame. The No Shame Tour goes on with LaToya Cantrell. Just so petty. Now in Barcelona, Spain on the city's dime. Just beyond pathetic. Boy, the Saints trade former Defensive Rookie of the Year, 4-time Pro Bowler, cornerback Marshawn Lattimore traded to D.C. Warren LaRuth. What a great call. Kevin emailing us. Corey at CoreyTalks.com. Corey, Kaare, Corey at CoreyTalks.com. Good job, Kevin in Old Metry. Warren LaRuth. Some of you are like, who's Warren LaRuth? Arguably the greatest chef in the city's history. Ask any great chef, any restaurateur. Warren LaRuth is definitely deserving to be on that list. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Good job, Kevin. Blue Boy, you deserve to be on the list. 19-year-old Basset Hound. Blue Boy, honestly, I would argue you deserve to be on the list more so than about 10 people that are on that list, no doubt, especially the mayor. You've contributed a lot more to the city of New Orleans in a positive way than the mayor. Blue Boy barking up a storm saying, stick around, 5 o'clock powwow next.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333.
Oh, yeah.
Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com. Your cool spot.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades. On Jefferson Highway, across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became number one for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all of the time.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread. Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. 5 o'clock power hour. Corey Johnson back at you on a Tuesday afternoon. Thank goodness. It's the beginning of the end. It's the beginning of the end. I'm talking about Election Day 2024 is here. Go vote if you haven't voted. I've been voted. That's right. It is New Orleans, where the polls, Drew Brees, are open till 8 p.m. 8 p.m. So go vote. Election Day 2024. I'd say we'll know who's president tonight. 50-50 chance at best. I don't think Fox or CNN or MSNBC or ABC, NBC, CBS are going to proclaim a winner tonight. Maybe someone will. I'd say a 50-50 shot at best. I think in the next 36, 48 hours, we will know who will be president of the United States come January. And then, of course, if Donald Trump loses, the election's fixed. If Donald Trump wins, the election was legitimate. That's just nice. That's nice when you can't lose, huh? When you can't lose. Anyway, I'm voting for a third-party candidate. I couldn't vote for Donald Trump for anything, not dog catcher. I find him repulsive. I find him totally full of you-know-what. Only I can fix it. Only I can, work it out. I'm the greatest. I'm the best. He's insane. He's a sociopath, literally, like by definition, sociopath. And then I just don't think Kamala Harris, A, is qualified to be president, and B, I have no idea what she stands for. Basically, I think for a lot of folks in America, liberal Democrats are voting for Kamala Harris because they'll vote for any liberal Democrat, just like conservative Republicans are going to vote for Donald Trump. So you have that. But I think you've got a lot of folks that are voting for Kamala Harris, just the anti-Trump vote. They're not voting for Kamala Harris. They're voting against Donald Trump. But I'm not trying to hey, I'm superior to you. You got to earn my vote. And Kamala Harris hasn't earned my vote. And I think she's sort of pushing the narrative that she's going to be kind of a moderate Democrat. And if I believe that and really thought that to be true, I probably could vote for Kamala Harris over Donald Trump. But I can't just vote for anybody but Trump, like the cinder block thing. Hey, it's Donald Trump versus a cinder block. I hate Trump. I'd probably vote for a cinder block, though. Because Kamala Harris, I think, is going to be kind of loony left, go back to her progressive roots. Too far left for me. Too far left. Too extreme. So I'm voting for, I don't know, Jill Stein or, I hate to say it doesn't matter, my vote. It matters. But with the electoral system, it kind of doesn't matter. Because you can add up all the votes in the red states and all the votes in the blue states, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Louisiana is going Trump. There's no way around that. We have about 1.1 million registered Democrats, about 1.1 million. We've got about 1 million registered Republicans. Now you got Corey there. If everybody votes, the Democrat would win. Harris would win Louisiana. Well, that isn't how it works. There's 1.1 million registered Democrats and hundreds of thousands of them. I don't know what it is, 2, 3, 4, 500,000 of them will vote Republican. Like a lot. And of the 1 million Republicans, you might have 100,000 of them, like 10% of them that might vote Democrat. Where the registered Democrats in Louisiana, you might have like 25%, a third that would vote Republican. There's a lot of registered Democrats that vote both ways in Louisiana. There's a lot of registered Democrats that are like, I don't feel like re-registering the Republican. You know, they're moderate Democrats. They vote Republican a lot. So you're going to have a lot of Democrats vote for Donald Trump in Louisiana. You're not going to have a lot of Republicans voting for Kamala Harris in Louisiana. You're just not. You're going to have some. There's always crossover, but not a significant amount. So even though there are about 100,000 more registered Democrats in Louisiana than Republicans, we're a red state. I think last election, only Oklahoma had a larger percentage of the population voting for Trump than Louisiana, the only state. Trump can't win California. It's impossible. Just like Harris can't win Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama. It's impossible. Election day 2024 is here. Yeah, I'll be checking out. I'm going to have carpal tunnel tonight, Miss Peaches, doing the last channel gimmick with the remote control because I'm a consensus person. You know, I'll go to Fox and be like, all right, what do the conservative-leaning news folks think? Okay, I'll go to MSNBC. What do the liberal-leaning news people think? And then I'll go to, CBS, NBC, ABC, and I'll go to CNN, which I think lean a little left just by the nature of the journalism business, just like bankers are more conservative. Farmers are more conservative, just how it, there's no rules to it, just how people gravitate to those jobs, professions, fields, careers, and how they lean, liberal or conservative. I don't make the rules, it's just how it is. But I'll go in with that in mind, like, what angle does this source come from, and then apply that. So I'm kind of a consensus person. I don't go to just one spot, and I definitely don't go to the spot like where I want to be appeased or placated. Hey, the Rouse's Markets phone lines are open, 766-9480. 766-9480. I got 50 big bucks for the Woodhouse. Yeah, some Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away. Junket Cantrell continues her No Shame tour. First putting herself in this walk of fame, top 50 most influential New Orleanians in history. Pathetic. Now on yet another international junket, this time Barcelona, Spain. I'd love to go to Barcelona, especially on someone else's dime. Indictment and jail time can't come soon enough, right? Just so petty and so just like, hey, the haters you're going to hate, I'm going to Barcelona. I'm putting my name on the top 50 most influential New Orleanians, even though Ruby Bridges isn't on that list. Even though Buddy Bolden, Sidney Boucher, Jelly Roll Morton, Professor Longhair, Al Hurt, Pete Fountain, Louis Prima aren't on that list. Dave Dixon not on that list. Mel Ott not on that list. Warren LaRuth not on that list. And then if you're going to put Drew Brees on the list, and I think he's deserving, even though he's not a native, he's like an exception, not a native. How do you not have Andrew Higgins on that list? I can go on and on. I've got a bunch of names to throw out there. Anyway, I've got a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate to give away. Professor Longhair, what's his real name? His parents didn't name him Professor, and his last name's not Longhair. What's Professor Longhair's real name? Do not go to Google or any other search engines, DuckDuckGo, Yahoo, Bing, and search it. No intranet allowed. You either know the answer or you don't. Dude, I was in Tipitina's. They've got the bust, and right under Professor Longhair, they've got his real name. They got his first name, then they got Professor Longhair in parentheses, and then they got his last name. That's a legitimate answer. I was at Tipitina's, something like that. Or, hey, I'm a musician and I know it. Something like that. Not, I went to Google. Anybody can do that. Anybody can read the wiki page. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines to pick up a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate. 766-9480. I've got another question. Name a foreign country LaToya Cantrell has visited as mayor of New Orleans. Name another one of her junkets besides Barcelona, Spain, where she is right now. I've got to laugh. It's pathetic. 766-9480. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. Professor Longhair's real name, 50 big bucks to the Woodhouse can be yours. Name a foreign country Latoya Cantrell has visited on one of her famous junkets. Hey, when it's time to check out the Pelicans, the Saints, LSU, Tulane, you got to go to Tracy's on Magazine. Brand new location. Have you been to Tracy's on Magazine? It is the ultimate sports bar, and it's pure New Orleans. On Magazine at Pleasant, right on the corner, in a 100-year-old building, 2 stories tall, big old Magazine Street balcony. Dozens and dozens of flat screens. And unlike most sports bar, food you actually want to eat. A full kitchen featuring maybe one of the best roast beef po' boys anywhere. When it's time to check out your favorite sports teams, hard to find a better place than Tracy's in their new location. Magazine at Pleasant. Tracy's, legendary Tracy's.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Boy, a few weeks ago, I know you North Shore folks like, Corey, I've been going here for years. I had never been. So slap me. A few weeks ago, I played some golf at Beauchene with some friends. And afterwards, we're in Mandeville. We were about to go to Trey Yen, which I'm at Trey Yen once a week. And I love Trey Yen. But a buddy of mine was like, have you been to Gallagher's? As a matter of fact, a friend of mine went to Gallagher's 527, and we text each other food. And he went for lunch, and he got the lamb chops for lunch, and he just snapped a photo of this oval plate. I could tell, even though it was a photo, that these 4 lamb chops were sizzling in butter. And they just looked beautiful. I was like, my God. I was like, where is that? Like, he just sent me the photo, having lunch, And I'm like, damn, where is that? And he goes, Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. And I'd heard of Pat Gallagher, and I've heard of his restaurants, his steakhouse in Covington. He's got one in Slidell. And I was like, wow, I want those lamb chops. So it's like a month later, played Beauchene, and we're leaving, played early. We're getting out of there like at lunchtime. So we go to Gallagher's 527. And right away, I was sold. Just a great location, great atmosphere, but I saw other people's entrees, like this woman had a steak sizzling in butter, and I'm like, wow. But what really sold me right away, first off, everything on the menu, I'm like, I can eat everything on the menu. I love this menu. And then he had, as an appetizer, Warren LaRousse crab meat St. Francis. I was like, are you kidding me? And it comes in this little ramekin, maybe like an inch tall, few inches across, 4, 5, 6 inches across. And it's just loaded with Louisiana jumbo lump crab meat. And then Warren LaRousse legitimate recipe for his crab meat St. Francis from his award-winning restaurant. Michelin, for some reason, doesn't rate New Orleans restaurants, but they used to. And that, I think, is the only 5-star Michelin restaurant in the city's history. LaRousse, formerly in Gretna on Old Franklin Avenue. Incredible place. And then I found out a little bit, and all this makes sense about Pat Gallagher. Worked like 4 or 5 years under Ruth Fertel, when Ruth Fertel ran Ruth's Chris when it was good. So I guess that's the sizzling in butter part. And just everything on the menu. I didn't even get the lamb chops. I'm going to get the lamb chops soon. They had shish kebab. I got that for lunch. It was so good. Literally, I ordered a second portion while I was eating the first portion. It was incredible. Tender filet chunks in that sizzling butter with vegetables on the skewer. Just fantastic. And yes, the crab meat, the St. Francis crab meat dish was one of the best crab meat dishes I've ever eaten in my life. Took me back to 30 years ago in LaRousse in Gretna. So yeah, Pat Gallagher's 527, Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. And very similar menu at Gallagher's Steakhouse in Covington and the Slidell location. No, I mean, it's like Trey Yen. I go to the North Shore to get that Chinese cuisine. It's not Chinese food, it's Chinese cuisine. And I will be a regular at Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Like Trey Yen, there's no driving across, the North Shore. You cross the lake, you cross the causeway, and like Trey Yen's immediately to the left, Gallagher's 527 is immediately to the right, like 90 seconds off the causeway. Same thing applies for you North Shore folks. right at the foot of the causeway. But in Covington, you can go to Gallagher Steakhouse in Slidell. You don't have to go to Mandeville. You can go to Gallagher's in Slidell. He's got a lakefront place in Mandeville now, too. So like 4 restaurants. Anyway, was blown away. You know, I love Clancy's in Uptown because everything on the menu I could get. I could just say, you bring out any entree you want. I could almost tell the waiter that. It's just so many great dishes. And not a lot of frou-frou crazy stuff they're trying to put together. Some small portion with all kind of goofy stuff. No, it's just straightforward, incredible over there at Clancy's. You can't go wrong. And that menu at Gallagher's, I was like, I could just tell the waiter to bring me an appetizer. You know, there's like 10 things that I want to get, like the lamb chops, the gumbo, steaks. I mean, just fish. Several fish dishes. I think they had a catfish pecan or something. I'm like, really? So no, I'm like Trey Yen in Mandeville, this South Shore resident, this New Orleanian's going to be beelining across the causeway, and I'm going to be a regular at Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. No, it's just blown away. New Orleans is incredible. Hundreds of great restaurants, you know, in New Orleans and dozens in Metro New Orleans outside the city. And I don't know if you're like me, you might be late. I know you North Shore folks are going, Corey, where have you been? You always talk about great food. And you never had eaten at Gallagher's. What's wrong with you? I don't know. Something was wrong with me, but I discovered it, and I'm going to be a regular now because it's incredible. I'll be beelining across the lake. So damn good. Just was blown away. That's what's great about New Orleans. So many restaurants that will blow you away. Just so good. So good. On the diametric opposite of that, LaToya Cantrell, Junket Cantrell, continues her no shame tour. Just petty and pathetic. Just a really weak human being. I was in Houston sitting at the bar about 2 weeks ago, and it's funny, you know, they got that like slot where the bartenders, the staff can go in and out of the bar. So it's not a complete oval. It's like 95%. And then there's like a 4-foot gap. I went and sat down. It was like one of the only seats available at the bar. I was by myself, went in about 8 at night and sat down at the bar. And about 5 minutes into it, I glanced to my left, and LaToya, the Destroyer, is sitting right next to me, basically. And she sees me and ends up turning her back and putting her hand on her right cheek and just talking to this nonstop. Like, I'm a mute compared to LaToya Cantrell. And then she slammed about 3 or 4 cocktails, got one to go in a to-go cup. And Houston's, I don't think, does to-go cups. I think they just tighten up the mayor because she's the mayor. And then she just kind of stumbled out of there, and she had her 2, policemen just sitting on the bench by the door. Didn't invite them to eat, and they just had to sit and wait for her. And I guess they drove her home. But yeah, she was definitely buzzed and just yapping up a storm. Now, a buddy of mine was at Betsy's Pancake House on Canal Street. And it was the height of C. Ray Nagin's tomfoolery, just like Junket Cantrell right now. She's C. Ray Nagin 2.0. And Nagin goes in there, and my buddy's sitting next to 2 strangers who are just ripping him. What a piece of crap, all this stuff. Nagin starts glad handing everyone, hey, shaking hands. He goes up to those 2 guys, hey, and they, oh, hey, Mr. Mayor, and they kiss his butt and shake his hand. From ripping him quietly to when he shows up, they're kissing his rear end. And then because my friend has integrity, when Nagin came in, my friend just kept eating and ignored Nagin. When Nagin stuck his hand out and had to pull it back and walk to the next person. So Nagin leaves Betsy's thinking everybody likes him because that's how politicians think. The mayor, people are kissing her rear end, and then when she left, they were dogging her, and I could hear it. And I'm just like, what a bunch of sellouts. I want to tell you people, it's called integrity, You're talking to her for 30 minutes, and then she leaves, and you're ripping her. Just pathetic. No, my buddy has integrity. He ignored Nagin. Don't want to shake hands with this joker. Don't respect this joker. No, Junket Cantrell is now on another international junket. I'm not kidding. She's in Barcelona, Spain right now, one of the great cities of the world, on the city of New Orleans taxpayers' dime. No, indictment and jail time can't come soon enough. Just pretty much an absolutely worthless human being. I hate to be ugly and say negative stuff like that, but she is just a pathetic person. Just pathetic. And of course, the junket to Barcelona is announced after the plane's already in the air heading to Spain. 5 o'clock. Wow. We're on YouTube, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on YouTube. Oh, so fine. 93.9 FM. We rock and roll till 6 p.m. Hey, every Friday, Michael Heck joins us from Greater New Orleans, Inc. 90-something days till Super Bowl 59. That segment every Friday brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant in Elmwood. About 1,400 employees in Elmwood, and they've got a few hundred on the North Shore off of I-12, and they are hiring. If you're looking for a job, if you're looking for a career, go to Latrim.com. Latrim.com has a full listing of positions available, and it's not like 2 or 3 job openings, or you go next week and there are none available. Every week, every day, dozens and dozens and dozens of jobs available. It's a major international company that just continues to grow continuously. So they're looking for you, a job, a career at Latrim. Latrim, by the way, is spelled Laitram. Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Hey, I've got a couple of $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away. Name a foreign country LaToya Cantrell visited as mayor of New Orleans. Name a foreign country where Mayor LaToya Cantrell went on one of her infamous junkets. Name any one, and I'll give you 50 big bucks to one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. 2 on the South Shore, 2 on the North Shore, in Baton Rouge. The city's premier day spa experience. Check out the website. Print your own gift card for her. Book an appointment. WoodhouseSpas.com. WoodhouseSpas.com. I got another $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate to give away. Yeah, Junket Cantrell's No Shame Tour in Barcelona. Over the weekend, it was Percy Miller, and the mayor putting together, I don't know who else got with them to put together this list, the 50 most influential New Orleans natives in history. The idea of this Walk of Fame on Canal Street, I'm all for. I think it's a great idea. Kind of a copy of the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The artwork that the artist put together is awesome. A fleur-de-lis with kind of multicolored glass. It almost looks like, stained glass. It's beautiful. A fleur-de-lis. It'll have the name of the 50 most influential New Orleans natives. So I check out the list, and I'm like, wow. One thing that stood out in a positive way, they have an exception. They put Drew Brees on that list. And I'm like, boy, Drew Brees is deserving. He's an incredibly major, influential New Orleanian in the history of this city. But then I'm like, if you're going to put Drew Brees on, you got to put Andrew Higgins on, right? World War II, the Higgins boat. Maybe Sam Zamuri, the Banana Man, United Fruit. Maybe like Pete Maravich and Ricky Jackson, if you're going to go with, non-New Orleanian natives. Whatever. That's something to discuss. The other exception of the 50 besides Drew Brees, Mayor LaToya Cantrell herself. She put herself on the list of the 50 most influential New Orleanians in history. Absolutely mind-blowing. Equal is mind-blowing. You've got LaToya Cantrell on there, but you don't have Buddy Bolden, Sidney Boucher, Jelly Roll Morton, Professor Longhair, some of the greatest musicians. I mean, the first 3 I mentioned, Buddy Bolden, Sidney Boucher, and Jelly Roll Morton, these were the inventors of jazz, the genre. And Professor Longhair is New Orleans music through and through. Ruby Bridges wasn't on the list. LaToya Cantrell's on the list, but Ruby Bridges isn't on the list. Homer Plessy's not on the list. Al Hurt, Pete Fountain, not on the list. Louis Prima, Andrew Young, Dave Dixon, not on the list. Mel Ott, not on the list. Chef extraordinaire, probably the greatest in the history of the city, Warren LaRuth, not on the list. It's supposed to be the 50 most influential New Orleanians in history. Mia X is on the list. DJ Khalid is on the list. I mean, talk about a warped, whacked agenda. I mean, I like Master P. If he's on the committee or he came up with the idea or he's putting together the list, he shouldn't put himself on the list. And the mayor obviously isn't deserving at all to be on the list. I'm not patting myself on the back. This has nothing to do with ego. It's just sort of fact-based, in my opinion. Me and people like me, there are probably a few hundred in New Orleans like me. Fair, objective, know the history of the city, know the significant players in the city's history, native New Orleanians. It should be a committee of like 12, 15, 20 people like me. And you could pick out of like a few hundred to put together this dozen or 15. I mean, I can think Roger Ogden. He's not on the list. He could be on the committee. T. Martin could be on the committee. There's lots of people that could be on the committee that are fair and objective, that have a true love for the city and don't have a warped agenda. Master P probably shouldn't put himself on the list if he's part of putting the list together. I mean, it's crazy. And LaToya Cantrell put herself on the list. Let me tell you this. I'm not pushing for this because it's a felony. Someone's going to take a sledgehammer or a lead pipe to that 2x2 foot square of LaToya Cantrell. And you deserve to go to jail. It's public property. The placards are going to be north of $500 to create. So I'm not telling anyone to take a lead pipe or a sledgehammer to it, but someone will. And then when she gets indicted and goes to jail, they're going to have to prop it up and remove it anyway. But she is relentless. She has absolutely no shame. She is beyond petty and pathetic. The mayor of New Orleans, LaToya Cantrell, and like I said, indictment and jail time cannot come soon enough. Just a pathetic person. Hey, name a foreign country LaToya Cantrell has visited as mayor. Name one of her junkets, international junkets, just one. I'll give you 50 big bucks to the Woodhouse. Professor Longhair, what's his real name? Give me the answer. 50 big bucks to the Woodhouse can be yours. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. 766-9480. Thank goodness. Election Day 2024 is here. The beginning of the end. I doubt we'll know who's president tonight. Maybe. 50-50 chance at best. But we'll know who's going to be president in January in the next 36, 48 hours, I would say. But what's good is the beginning of the end of this just caustic, ugly, almost un-American election. Go vote if you haven't. Polls in New Orleans are open till 8 p.m. I think the same for Jefferson Parish. Not sure, but Orleans Parish for sure, 8 p.m. I haven't voted yet. I'm going after the program. Go vote. And yes, I'm not voting for Donald Trump. And yes, I'm not voting for Kamala Harris either. Donald Trump's just caustic, narcissistic, egomaniacal, a worthless human being, just a broken person. Something is wrong with him. He's a sociopath by definition. So I couldn't vote for him for dog catcher. Kamala Harris hasn't really told me anything that she's going to do. Nothing she's going to do as president. It's just sort of Trump's a bad person, vote for me kind of campaign. And there's a lot of validity to that. But when it gets down to political agenda, political ideology, I think Kamala Harris is selling herself as sort of like, I'm a moderate liberal now, I'm a moderate Democrat. And I just don't believe that. I'm not buying that. I think she's progressive. I think she's kind of woke, kind of loony left. And that's just too extreme for me. So sadly, and I don't think Quinn Hillier likes doing this either, lifelong Republican. We get him on the show, Hillier and Hennigan. Quinn Hillier's voting for a third-party candidate. So am I. Impossible to vote for Donald Trump. And then just politically, I don't align with Kamala Harris. I'm not a conservative like a right-winger, and I'm not a left-winger. I'm a registered independent. I like the good things out of both parties. I vote for the best person, that I think deserves the job, that earned my vote, I don't think Kamala Harris is an evil person or narcissistic. I just think her ideology is a little extreme. I think she's a progressive liberal, and I think she's going to implement that stuff, and I can't vote for that. But, and it's sort of her campaign's like, anybody but this sociopath Trump, vote for me. That's sort of the campaign. So I'm voting third party. Louisiana, Electoral College, it is a Trump state. There's no way around that. Louisiana voters could almost get 2 votes for Kamala Harris to the people that vote and get 1 vote for Trump. You could literally get, hey, you voted for Kamala Harris, we're going to count your vote twice. And I don't know if Kamala Harris would win Louisiana, literally. Trump's going to get 70-something% of the vote in Louisiana. 70-something%, I would predict, in Louisiana. So literally, people that vote for Kamala Harris could get 2 votes in Louisiana, and I don't think she wins the state. Trump will win it better than 2-1. We'll see. I might be wrong, but we'll see by tomorrow. Maybe by tonight in Louisiana we'll know. But no, the great thing is the beginning of the end of this heinous election 2024. And I mean, I guess if I'm saying, boy, I want Trump to lose so he just goes away, then it's like I'm saying I want Harris to win. I'm not voting for either one. I can't pull the trigger for either one. That's a jar of Blue Plate mayonnaise if you're checking us out on YouTube. If you're listening on the radio, just use your imagination. There's a jar of Blue Plate mayonnaise on the television studio set right here, about 3 feet from the microphone. Blue Plate mayonnaise, spread the love, as New Orleans as it gets. A New Orleans family tradition since 1927. I've never had a jar of mayonnaise in my house, in my pantry, in my refrigerator, but Blue Plate mayonnaise in my life. Growing up, my mom and dad, it was always Blue Plate, nothing else. We're New Orleanians. If you're a New Orleanian, it's got to be Blue Plate, New Orleans mayonnaise. A Tuesday edition of the program. 5 o'clock power hour. I got 2 $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away. Name a foreign country, a junket the LaToya Cantrell has gone on. A foreign country she's visited as mayor of New Orleans. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. Professor Longhair is not on the top 50 most influential New Orleanians list in history. What's Professor Longhair's real name? 766-9480. 766-9480. Hey, Lebanon's Cafe's open till 9:30 tonight. Enjoy some of the best Middle Eastern food under the oak trees right on the streetcar line. Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn. They're open till 9:30. Outdoor dining too. Lebanon's Cafe.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Rouse's Markets means convenience. Every one of our 65 locations opens at 7 a.m., some at 6:30, and they're open until 10 p.m., with some staying open till 11 or even midnight. Convenience. Rouse's Markets. Tastes like home.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
That's what I said. Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. Mojo joins us. What did you say, Miss Peaches Mid-City? What up, Mojo?
Hey, Corey, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah, you're right, man. Don't be a stranger. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I really do think, man, you're one of the few voices in New Orleans that really seems to know what's going on. So I try to listen when I can. I guess the first thing I got to say with this list is, is first of all, is Fats Domino on the list?
Fats Domino is on the list. Yep.
Okay. Antoine's got to be on there, but I think you're right about a lot of these other people. And I mean,
DJ Khalid and Mia X, and you don't have Buddy Bolden or Professor Longhair or Al Hurd or Pete Fountain. I mean, it's a faulty list. It's ridiculous.
well, no, that's what I wanted to say too. I didn't even know DJ Khaled was from New Orleans, and but I think that's how you pronounce his name, Khaled.
Yeah, maybe Khaled instead of he is from New Orleans. He worked at like Peaches on Magazine. I know a little bit about him, even though I'm butchering his name.
No, well, the other one is Boucher, man. Because look, I'm a musician here. You got to say Sidney Boucher, not. I think you've been saying Boucher the whole time.
Boucher, yeah.
I know some Bouchers, by the way. But
yeah. No, you're right. It's Boucher. You're right.
On the list, you're talking about the origins of New Orleans jazz. Of all jazz, really.
No, you're right. You're right. I was saying Boucher. It's Boucher. You're right.
Yeah. So
Bechet.
You're pretty much right on about everything. I mean, I don't know about the voting. I feel like Kamala Harris, for getting the late start that she did, when they, put her up there, put her in, she's done her best to tell people what she's all about. And you could see what she's all about. And I used to live in California. You could see kind of what she's all about as far as specific policies and whatnot. I mean, she has mentioned some things. But, I don't think you're ever going to see that stuff until someone gets in. But I do think she's got a long track record of being around and being a legislator and a prosecutor. So you got to say what she's about,
I guess you're right. I think she's an honorable person. She's not a sociopath like Trump. Maybe just a little too progressive for me.
About, it's always been lesser of two evils, right? In a lot of ways, when you talk about politics and how cynical it is. So you're going to vote for the lesser of two evils, but... And like you also said, it doesn't matter in this state, which is so sad. Did you say it's the number one ratio?
I think it was number 2 to Oklahoma voting for Trump, percentage of the population last election.
But
number
New
2
Orleans
to Oklahoma.
It is a very liberal city, so
yep. Well, that's a lot. That Mojo. That's the case. A lot of these, blue states are, red states are blue metropolitan areas.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you just look at, even in California, all the rural areas. But when you have, Los Angeles and San Francisco, like you said, he'll never win there.
And you got more population in Metro LA than arguably the rest of the state of California. California's got like 41 million. Metro LA is almost 20. It's almost half the state's population. You throw in San Fran, it's another like 7 million. So, and then we're not even counting San Diego, San Jose, all these other places. So, yeah, it's a clearly Democratic state, California. There's no way Trump can win that state.
We used to call it the U.S. of L.A.
California, I think, has like the 6th largest GDP in the world as a state.
The economy bigger than most countries.
Yep.
All right, so I got to give you the Professor Longhair name, of course.
Are you a musician, Mojo?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Nice. What do you play? What instrument or instruments?
Well, I'll plug my band, the Mojo Combo, that plays all over town and whatnot and around. And I'm the drummer.
Nice. Where's the next gig?
Let's see. Well, I'll be down at the, on Maison, at the Maison.
Yeah, on Frenchman.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Jeff B's place, right?
Where we do a lot of Professor Longhair tunes, so we say his name a lot. Musical Legends Park is on Bourbon and where the Cafe Beignet is, and we do a lot of the New Orleans stuff, and the show includes a lot of information about the musicians. The statues are there of Louis Prima and Fats Domino and Irma Thomas.
Yeah, the mayor and Master P could have just gone down there for a bunch of the folks that should be on the list.
No, I agree with you. She's a disgrace, man. And sadly enough, it seems like this is a pattern in New Orleans. I mean, who's not on the list is Landrew, right? Is Landrew not on the list?
Moon Landrew is.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, you would, again, the list, if it's 50 people, could just be musicians alone. Yeah, but if you're saying like 100, maybe Mitch makes it on there too because he presided over the statues coming down. He's done a lot of national stuff now.
Well,
right?
Troy Carter and Cedric Richmond are on the list, so obviously Mitch Landrieu should be on the list if Troy Carter and Cedric Richmond are on it. But I don't think Troy Carter or Cedric Richmond should be on it as the top 50, and I don't think Mitch should either. The next 50, the 50 after that, sure, but not the top 50.
Is Leah Chase on there?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, like you said, the whole thing's a joke if the mayor puts herself on there. And, like you say, gallivanting around the country and the world and whatnot on our dime and bringing no business back is a shame. It really is.
It's pathetic. And look, the exception, like a Drew Brees, he's one of besides the mayor, one of the not natives that's on it. That's great. But if you're going to, and I love Drew Brees, I'm not knocking Brees. I think he deserves it. But then you got to put Andrew Higgins on it, right? I mean, right?
Yeah. Was he with the schools?
No, Andrew Higgins, the Higgins boat.
Okay.
The Higgins boat in World War II. Now, speaking of schools, Ruby Bridges isn't on the list.
Okay.
Come on. Right, integrated schools in New Orleans.
Well, to me, again, you have a top 50 list. It could be all musicians. They need to expand it. If you're going to have non-New Orleanians, then right, because I love Drew Brees too, but he shouldn't be on the list. He's not from here if that's the kind of list you're doing.
No, you're right.
Born and raised the same way that Reese Witherspoon was born here, but then left immediately and didn't really get raised up here. Is Britney Spears on the list? She was North Shore, right?
Yeah, she's from what is it? Not Independence, Kentwood, Louisiana. Yeah, North Shore up the I-55. Yeah, there's Clyde Drexler, Reese Witherspoon, and Todd Graves, the Raising Cane's guy. I like all three of them. I think they're quality people. But they were born here and they beelined out as infants. It's like they're not New Orleans contributors. Just silly.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it's a crazy night, and I guess, like you said, we won't know for another 36 hours or so.
Yep. Hey, Mojo, before you forget, what's Professor Longhair's name?
Oh, that'd be Henry Roland Bird.
Wow. Nailed the middle name, too. I'm thinking Henry Bird, but Henry Roland Bird. You are correct, Mojo.
Yeah, you're right. Ding, ding, ding. What do we have for her, Johnny?
Yeah, you're right.
I got it. Don't go anywhere, Mojo. Going to tighten you up with a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate.
I got to say, the station, too, I listen to it's like a religious station, and then they seem to cut off your 5 o'clock hour. I want to hear you on a major station again, man. Is that ever going to happen?
We're trying. 93.9's another place you can check us out. We're trying to improve the signal of 93.9. And, YouTube, the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson.
I'm watching right now on YouTube, and that's where I started doing it because I had you on Spotify for a while, too. But I was like, I miss you in the car, so I would just catch the YouTube. But there's not a lot of views on the YouTube. We got to get the YouTube views.
No, I was talking to a guy today about, I'm like, I suck at social media. I need your help. Had a lunch meeting today.
Your studio looks like a NASCAR car, so you're trying.
Yeah.
And
Mojo, my buddy told me that. He's like, all you need is the zip suit with all the advertisements on the suit. I swear, you nailed it.
I'm pulling for you, man. I tell people about you. And, yeah, keep up the good fight.
Hey, Mojo, the Mojo combo you said will be at the Maison soon, right, on Frenchman?
Yes, sir. And the Maison on Bourbon Street as well.
Oh, wow. Now, that's Jeff B., right?
Yeah.
Wow, he's got a second joint?
I believe so.
And I know he owns, the Dragon's Den, I think, also, right?
No, not the same guy that owns the one on Frenchman Street. This is the Maison Bourbon on Bourbon Street.
Oh, gotcha.
And they also have the other place attached to it as well, which is like the piano bar.
So you're playing there or you're playing at Maison on Frenchman?
Yeah, I'm playing at that one, the one on Bourbon.
Gotcha, not Jeff B's place.
Frenchman, I have played at as well. I played every club in this town, man. So the one on Frenchman I was playing at for a while, and then, you've got a bunch of other clubs down there. Blue Nile used to play at. Bambula's used to play at. So it's been a lot of reshuffling for the Mojo Combo since COVID. And now I'm working. I also work as a gunner, a ringer, and play with a lot of different artists. Currently one at the Maison.
Miss Old Cafe Brazil. They were doing music
at the Cafe Beignet there, the Musical Legends Park.
Wow, nice.
Trying to stay busy, man.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Keep banging on those drums, Mojo.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, thanks for the correction on, I was saying Boucher for Sydney. Yeah, they got to get that stuff right.
Sydney Boucher and
yep.
And those guys were so, inspirational and influential. And Papa, get to the Delicious Park sometime, man.
Yeah, I'm going to come check out the Mojo combo, and you're right about the park.
What we do.
Mojo, don't go anywhere. Going to get some info from you. Good job.
All right, thank you, man. Have a great show.
You too. He nailed it. Henry Bird, Professor Long here. That's the drummer from the Mojo combo. Corey Johnson with you. See you mañana, straight up 4 o'clock, wide open Wednesday. Be there.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.